so I just saw Under the Silver Lake and it was awesome. Now, as some of you may know, I was lucky enough to get invited to Cannes Film Festival in France. I'll be talking more about my experience of the festival in future videos, but for now, let's just talk about this movie. Now, this is from the same director as It Follows, which was on my 2015 list, so naturally I was excited for this film since it was announced. This movie is incredibly different from It Follows. There are only a couple scenes that I would say have horror elements to them. Overall, it's more of a comedy, mystery, drama mindfuck. This movie is so incredibly fun to watch. There's this constant sense of paranoia and discovery, but it also manages to have a relatively playful tone throughout. Andrew Garfield does a great job, and this is probably my favorite performance from him. He really manages to play a legitimate and interesting character, although he's not exactly the typical hero you would find in any other film. It seems as though a lot of people who watched this film take issue with that, but without spoiling anything, I would say that I'm pretty fucking confident that there is an actual purpose to it. This film is not only fun to watch for the actual sequence of events, but there is a lot to chew on in terms of symbolism and hidden details in the film. Some of the statements the film makes are pretty obvious and you should be able to get them on your first watch, but there are others that I discovered by thinking about the film days later, and this is the type of film that will have you thinking about it. There are other films like this that play out in a way that kind of just dicks you around and doesn't give you any real payoff, but boy does this film have some incredibly satisfying scenes towards the end of it. This is definitely a movie that I'll want to watch again right away when it's out in theaters in June. The characters are strange and interesting and really fun to watch. All of the acting is great. The soundtrack and the way that it's used is really special. The tones of the songs often create a kind of juxtaposing feeling to what's being shown in the film. Much of how it's filmed is really creative. The film's cinematography is well done and each shot is pleasant to look at. One of my favorite aspects to this film is the set design. Each location is new and interesting, and the character is constantly visiting new places each scene. The visuals in this movie never feel stale or repetitive. I can tell that a lot of work was put into the visual aspect of this movie, and I really appreciate it. So far, both the user and critic reviews for this film are pretty divisive, and I can kind of understand why, because it's not exactly a conventional film. I can imagine that some people who watch this will be left unsatisfied, but boy did I ever enjoy myself with this movie. I really value that this film offers a truly unique experience. When considering this film as a whole, there really isn't anything else like it. So go check this one out as soon as you can, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10, and it might change to a 9 the next time I see it. I don't know, but I fucking loved it. Thank you.